What's up, everybody? I'm Simon Sabro, and today we got for y'all some tips for starting a manga collection. So before we get into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Simon Sabro YT. Link will always be down in the description. Also, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss an upload, all of that good stuff. Also, make sure you comment down any tips you might have for anybody who might watch the video. Maybe what tip stood out to you the most, anything like that whatsoever. But with all that out the way, let's just jump right into it. All right, so really quickly before we get into like the actual tips and tricks, I do want to say that this is kind of me doing a revision or updated version of a video I did about a year ago now, which is gonna have the same title. This one's just the revised version. So if you did see the original one, just kind of look out. It might be some new stuff on here. This is kind of, like I said, just an updated one with everything that I've learned over the year and stuff like that. Also, really quickly, I do want to say thank you guys so much for the recent support. I greatly appreciate it. It means the world to me. And I hope you guys continue to keep supporting the channel because it means the world to me, literally. So thank you all. I just wanted to say that really quickly. And thank you for the people that have been showing love on my other channel. As I always say, it is a gaming channel called Simon Sabro Alt. Link for that will be down in the description. But let's actually start to get into the list now. So the first thing that I do want to mention is budgeting. Keep a budget in mind of how much you're willing to spend. And this also kind of goes hand in hand with another point I'm going to go more in depth on later on. But it comes down to the series that you're looking for. If you want stuff like, let's say, Spy Family, Call of the Night, maybe Oshinoko because it just came out, Blue Lock because it just came out, you could usually find those at retail with no issue whatsoever, especially as of recently because well, not even as of recently, maybe like the past year or two now, manga has been like really readily available, so it shouldn't be an issue to get your hands on. But even with those, do keep budgeting in mind because maybe you might buy, I think Blue Lock for example is like 6 volumes out in English now, so there might be a time you probably got like $40 on you and you want to get that last volume, but you know you shouldn't be spending that much money. So even with that, just keep it in mind. And I know it's really hard with a lot of manga because sometimes the volume might end at a point where it's like, dang, I gotta go and read the next volume like right now. So I definitely do understand that. But please do keep your budgeting in mind. Another thing on the flip side is if you are into collecting rare manga, or maybe you might have heard about a series and it's rare and maybe you didn't know it's rare. For example, let's say GTO or Great Teacher Onizuka. It's a series that goes for about $1,000 easily for the complete set. So things like that, once again, definitely do keep budgeting in mind. You know, scour around the internet a bit, weigh your options, and just find the best price for you. Of course, if your budget is like $1 million, just go for it, you know, whatever. But if you're trying to save some money, definitely keep the budget in mind. It's not gonna hurt. It's never gonna hurt. And one thing, this is kind of me personally, so I do have the Shonen Jump app, which helps me budget a lot more because there's certain manga that come out physically and I usually don't pick it up because it's on the Shonen Jump app, with a few exceptions here and there, such as like Bleach, Spy Family. Those are on the app, so I still collect these, mostly because I was collecting it before I actually got the app and I just love Bleach, so that had to be there. Siren's also on the app, so I know. And I do understand that there are a lot of things where it's like, I want it physically, you know? That was me with Siren, for example. It's one of my favorite series of all time. I wanted to have it physically, not on an app. So I definitely do understand that. But if you can, you know, hold off on maybe making a really big purchase that you shouldn't be making, and you could just settle for the app, like if you just want to read it. For example, Kaiju number 8, I used to collect. I don't collect it anymore because it is on the app. One Punch Man, I used to collect. Don't collect it anymore because it's on the app. Even that new manga by the creator of Spy Family, Tatsuya Endo, Tista, they had a new manga and that's on the app, so I'm not gonna buy it in person anymore. So things like that to help me save money as well as saving shelf space. And that kind of brings us into the next topic of keeping your shelf space in mind. If you have one bookshelf and you want to maybe make it look as best as possible that you can. You don't really want to, let's say get One Piece, get Case Closed, because those are series that will literally take up the whole shelf. So keeping that in mind, definitely go with, I'm not gonna say shorter series, but also another point actually, but diversity of your series. So whether you want to have longer series or a bunch of different short series, if you're looking for maybe like one volume series, one is like Liquor and Cigarettes. Here it's a BL. If you're interested, All You Need Is Kill. Imperfect Girl is 3 volumes, stuff like that. Make it have some diversity on your shelf without it being too much of a commitment, or you are 100% committed and you go for like I said, One Piece, Case Closed, etc. Those bigger titles that literally take up your whole space. And that's what I mean by shelf space, in the sense of keeping in mind what you can get and as well as making space for other stuff. For example, like Spy Family here, I think that's like the third time I've mentioned it this video. So you could kind of see it behind it that I don't have any book behind it. Whereas, so when a new volume comes out, I can always kind of just put this one, like tuck it back in and then put volumes next to it, and it won't be an issue for me. Or if anything, I could always like stack volumes behind it in a way that makes it look presentable and still holds all of my manga pretty well. Same goes with Boys Run the Riot over here. And further down, I do have Die Dark that's also doing the same thing. Up here, I have Bleach doing the same thing. Like, there's space behind those books to where I can put stuff there in case of anything. Probably about like 4 or 5 volumes maybe could fit behind it. So it's a really good way to, for one, make the shelf look good, as well as, utilizing the space that you have. So I've been talking so far about how to organize manga and, buying manga, but let's actually talk about where you should, check out where to buy these manga. One place that you've probably heard of, maybe everybody talk about by now, is Right Stuff Anime. It is this online website that sells manga as well as like other figures, Blu-rays, stuff like that. A lot of just otaku stuff. So they're a really good place. They do sell it at really below retail on pretty much everything that they have. They do also have some stuff where it's like damaged, that you could buy at a really low price if you don't mind. And it does tell you like very descriptively what's damaged about it. If you're interested, like I said, that goes into budgeting. Another place that everybody's familiar with is Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, or just your local bookstore in general. Those are all good places to get started. And I know the local bookstore probably might be what's most convenient, or even where you actually started collecting manga. Nothing's wrong with that, of course. And another place where you can get manga is eBay and Mercari, as well as sometimes on the Facebook Marketplace, as well as the Reddit group r/manga swap. Those are all really good places that you can go to get manga at even lower prices. Or sometimes, like maybe an out-of-print series, let's take Siren, Sanctuary, Arm of Canaan there, Batum behind me. These out-of-print series, those would be your best bet, because you're not going to find them, in regular bookstores. But you could usually go on there, ask, like for example with r/manga swap specifically, you could literally go in the group, ask, hey, is anybody selling, let's say, iShield 21? And they'll say, yeah, I'm selling this volume, that volume, what you need, here's the price, blah, blah, blah. And it'll help you kind of, for one, you might get more familiar with manga in general, as well as like what's rare, what isn't rare, just the general prices of stuff. You might find out some new manga you've never even heard of, because people post on there daily about stuff that they're selling, and it's honestly amazing to see. Same goes with eBay and Mercari. Sometimes I'll go on there and just type up OOP manga. For those who don't know, OOP, OOP, is just out of print. So I'll go type up OOP manga just to see if there's like some new series there that I've never even heard of. So it's just a really good way to like keep yourself informed on what's trending, what's, people are selling, because if a lot of people are selling a series, you might wonder why people are selling it, stuff like that. Another really major point is knowing what kind of genre that you're into. Especially if you're just getting into manga as a like category, I guess. Not sure what the proper word is, But let's say you're coming from Marvel movies to manga or something like that, maybe like DC Comics, whatever. Just knowing what kind of stories you find interesting plays a big role into what you want to collect. Because, for example, if you like mystery thriller, the first manga you get shouldn't be romance or something, because one, it might turn you off from the whole manga as a whole thing, or you might not like it. You might be like, why did someone recommend this to me? Anything like that whatsoever. You get the point. And in that case, like I said, definitely do know what kind of genre of stuff that you're looking for. Maybe just search up on YouTube top 10 recommendations of psychological manga or something like that, and kind of just go from there. Figure out what you might like, and then you could start to like diversify. Of course, you probably don't want your whole bookshelf to be like one genre. Probably want some variety in there, and I definitely do understand that. I do have a video of manga recommendations for beginners, and they touch over like a bunch of different genres. I do have 2 videos of that, so I'm gonna leave those in the description. I'll also put up a little card for it. But do have those if you want to check them out, as well as I do have a video on places that you can buy manga. I'm probably going to do an updated version for that video as well, but that video is there if you do want to check those out. And that brings us into the next point of definitely trying to get into communities, whether it be like people's discords. I know, like, for example, off the top of my head, I think the Dark Sage has a discord, so joining his, maybe whatever your favorite manga tubers discord might be, just kind of getting in the know. Maybe if you have like a friend group that's into manga, just, talking to them, maybe learning stuff, whatever. Or if you don't, maybe you're not a very social person, which is fine. I'm not in any groups myself. Another option is watching other manga tubers, as well as, subscribing to this channel. But watching other manga tubers, because literally every manga tuber has different tastes. And it is amazing to see what their tastes are. And some of the series that I have came from their recommendations, vice versa, stuff like that. So, just not meeting, but watching other manga tubers, kind of just learning what their interests are, seeing what they talk about, how that might interest you, kind of going from there just to figure out what you might like, or just, put stuff on your radar. I know, like, the Omnibus Collector, every month he does like a video on what's coming out that month. So those are very informative, and definitely put a couple of titles on my own radar that I've never even heard of. So I definitely recommend checking his videos out. And like I said, just literally any other manga tuber, because they all have very interesting ideas. So we do have 2 more points that I want to touch on. The first one being the constant discussion of box sets or singles. So a couple of titles do have box sets, and I mean like the really big box sets, not like the 4-volume box sets that like Chainsaw, Jujutsu Kaisen, not those. Those don't count as box sets. But box sets like the really big ones, like I know Toilet Bound Hanako is getting one this year. Naruto has a bunch, Bleach, One Piece, Demon Slayer has one, My Hero has one, etc., etc. So those box sets, or like the singles versions of them. And in that case, for one, this does come down to shelf space. As you can see, I do have Bleach in the singles here, simply because I just don't have the box set, but I'd rather have the box set so that I could put something else here instead of Bleach, because it's 21 volumes being taken up right there, which is a lot. That is a whole series right there. So the main discussion of that does come down to what your budget fits into more, because most box sets are easily like $150 to $250, just depending on how much volumes are in it. Usually comes out cheaper than buying each individual book. But the thing is, when you're buying each individual book, you could do it over the course of the entire year. You could buy, let's say it's 12 volumes, you could just buy 1 volume a month. Or you could just buy the entire box set for, let's just say, $100. And if you bought it singles, it would be $120. So you do save $20, but it's still a big investment, just at one time, just going to the bookstore and being like, hey, here's $100. And getting it. Don't get me wrong, it really just comes down to personal preference. And there are times where actually on eBay or r/manga swap or Mercari, or maybe even Facebook Marketplace, these secondhand places, you could probably find somebody selling just the box itself with no manga inside of it. So if you already do own the manga, you could just buy the box and just still have the shelf space, and you still spent money over the course of however long. And that's kind of like the best way to go about it. But I do understand the convenience of getting just a whole box set, because there's some series I want. For example, Bakuman, I really want that series, but I'm not gonna buy the individuals. I want to buy the box set. Just whenever I get to it, I'll get to it, kind of thing. Now, the very last point that I want to make is kind of just decorating slash organizing your shelf. As you can see, like I said before, my shelf does have a lot of, books facing outwards, mostly for appeal, also to kind of like cover holes that doesn't really fit, because you can kind of see like down here maybe that it's like a lot of white space there, which is the back of the shelf, because I literally just don't have anything to put there. So that's why I do it, because I have a lot of extra space because of the way that I organize. But the other thing would be figures. If you're into figure collecting, most people that are into manga tend to also be into figures. So you might want to decorate, your shelf with some figures, make it look a little pretty, just add a little extra oomph to it, And so a cheap way to get into figures, because figures can get very expensive very quickly. Just for example, the Destiny Gundam that's like in the corner right here costed me probably like $20, but it is a model kit that I had to build myself. The Ichigo here, I believe, costed me $30, I think, like somewhere between $30 to $50. This is considered like a prize figure, I believe. The Haropla right there is like $5, which I also had to build myself. Meanwhile, this Black Rock shooter, well, it was a gift, but retail I think is like $120. And then this right here, the Hatsune Miku, is a Nendroid, which is like $60 on average. I do have another one here. Usually they're like $60. So it kind of comes down, so for one, what you're into, like what's your overall, I guess, what kind of figures would you want? Because I know not everybody would want a model kit. I do also understand not everybody likes Nendroids. So kind of just comes down to what you're into. That's the main thing, as well as what is your budget, because there's some figures that could literally just go for upwards of $200-300, even more than that. Honestly, I do also understand not everybody's into figures. I'm not saying you need figures in order for your bookshelf to look pretty. It just adds a little extra flair to it. And that's, well, actually I do got one more point, and this kind of goes back into the organizing part, which I forgot to mention. So on these two shelves specifically, you can see that I have like a lot of manga on it. It's double stacked, that's the term. And the way that I do that, I'm gonna have to use this volume again. You can kind of see there's like a little box behind it. So the books on top are sitting on top of that box in order for it to look pretty. There's a train outside. I apologize if y'all can hear that. So the way that I do it, the boxes there are from Barnes & Noble. And the way that, well, Barnes & Noble calls it pop-up boxes, I think, something like that. So I kind of just went there, saw they had a bunch of them. I was like, hey, do you guys mind if I take a couple? They're like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm not saying everybody's Barnes & Noble is going to be like that, but it's an easy way to do it. I know some people use stuff like containers. Some of my shelves down here, because I don't have enough, because I'm not going to go there and ask them for like a billion of them. But down at the bottom shelves, it's a little bit uneven, but what I do is I use like the boxes that my figures came in order to use as risers for those. Works pretty well. Like I said, it's not very even, but the Barnes & Noble one works really well. The shelves I have here are some shelves from Walmart, and 3 of them, like laying on the side, fit the shelf perfectly. I kid you not, like it fits perfectly. So if you do happen to have like the same shelves I have, I'm not familiar with the brand, I just know I got them from Walmart. If you can get them from your Barnes & Noble, literally 3 of them go across perfectly. I kid you not. And those really help with just managing space, making it look good. If I didn't have as much figures that I do, I would have done it for literally every single shelf. But when I do it, I can't really fit figures there unless I put the figure like on top of the volumes here. But then it's like only smaller figures will fit. So I kind of have a bit of a hard time with it. But if you don't have any figures, or you don't even plan on collecting figures, or maybe you have like a whole different area for your figures, like a detail for something, definitely check out getting some like just some type of risers for your collection. I know there's a ton of YouTube videos out there talking about different things that you can use. I don't have one of those videos, but you heard a couple of them in here. But that's kind of it for the video. Really quickly, if you are curious on the rest of manga that I have, or just seeing how I have all of my shelves set up, My previous video was a manga collecting video. If you're interested in checking it out, go check it out. I would greatly appreciate it. But that's really it for the video. Once again, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at SimonSabroYT. Link will always be down in the description. Also, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss an upload, all of that good stuff. Once again, comment down any advice you might have for starting a manga collection, or maybe even just some manga recommendations for beginners you might have, maybe some tips for me. I don't know. There's always something to learn. But that's really it for the video. Once again, like I said, I do have a gaming channel called Simon Sabro Alter. Be sure to check that out. It will be down in the description. Let's give a quick shout out to our channel members. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel as always. I greatly appreciate you guys. But yeah, this is Simon Sabro signing out. I'll catch you on the next one.